Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Bonner. I'm part of the middle level steering committee. Unfortunately, I can't be there tonight for our Build Our Stack event, but I did want to provide some resources of my recommendations tonight as we talk as a community about the books that we can recommend to not only ourselves as teachers, but definitely to our students in our classrooms. So, just for a few moments, I just wanted to share some of my top picks right now. And I also have this presentation shared and linked with some easy resources that can link you out to these books if you're interested in grabbing them for your own stack. The first book I wanted to promote tonight was from Myra and Marie. Obviously, this is a new book from them. Does My Body Offend You? This is definitely one of my top favorites right now in terms of two um, two people who become friends. They come together over a shared cause. We have Milena and we have Ruby, who are pictured here on the cover. Milena is in the green dress, and Ruby is in the orange shirt. And they go through a conflict at school that challenges their high school's dress code. And because of the curvatures of their body and how nuanced dress codes can be, especially for females. And these two become friends, and they are standing up for what they believe in terms of their fight to defend their right to promote their own bodies, and they stand up against the policing of their bodies. And the tale of how they come together in not only friendship but feminism, and also how this story plays out in terms of um, how this relates to being female, how this relates in cultural differences and similarities, is definitely one to pick up because there's a lot of really rich conversation that comes from this book. And it's definitely one that I can't keep on my shelves right now, especially amongst my middle school girls who are trying to read the world in those different ways. The next book I want to share with you is Samir Ahmed's new book. If you've been a fan of Interment or Mad, Bad, and Dangerous Things, you're going to really like Hollow Fires. Hollow Fires is actually a really interesting story because I did a little digging on it as I was reading it. And it was one of those books, just like our first suggestion, I couldn't put it down. Hollow Fires is actually based on a crime that happened in the Chicago area back in the 1920s. And Samira Ahmed took that historical nonfiction and she turned it into a modernized fiction, really talking about today's climate with the way media is presented, the way news outlets have presented different stories and presenting facts and alternative facts and truths and falsehoods. And this particular book really digs into not only a great story, but it also gives a lot of really great entry points for kids to ask those really important questions around today's media, around unearthing the notion of truth. And it definitely gets into conversations of racism that our students are always looking to find answers to, understanding more. Definitely, if I agree with Goodreads, if you are a fan of Dear Martin, or if you've read Samira's work before, you're going to really want to pick up on this one, because it definitely invites our students into those spaces with some really good conversations. And the last book I want to share tonight, for a teacher suggestion, actually is not really crafted for a teacher book, but it comes from the Stanford D School. And the Stanford D School has recently published a series of books that relate to design. And this particular book was something that I studied with a group of teachers recently. It's called Design for Belonging. And it really just kind of takes you through this opportunity to really think about how you design your spaces and how you include people and how you build community in your space. And while this can definitely be applicable outside of the classroom and other spaces and communities that we create, one of the things that I really appreciated as a teacher with this book is the self-reflection I was able to have in understanding what I do for building community. It gave me different ideas on how to push that space even further. And I appreciated the ability to have the questions that are embedded in this text and the kind of the walkthrough or activities that go along with this book. That makes me think a lot about a lot of classroom applications. And as I have that book here, you're going to see that it's kind of teeny tiny. It's not very big. And one of the things I like about it too is that it's got amazing resources, especially as we have the late great Bell Hooks here, that talks about this idea of community and belonging, but also how do we design for these spaces. So I hope you have a chance to build your stack tonight and enjoy these recommendations, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, NCTE.